Merlin and Morgana are going to play a large role in the story for Hogwarts Legacy, and the devs have been teasing it since the original trailer for the game. I cannot believe that so many of us missed all these subtle little details, but I'm here to tell you, we won't miss any more. Here is my Hogwarts Legacy theory based on all of the info that we have seen so far. So with that being said, let's get right into it and talk nerdy. Images of Merlin have been seen throughout the Hogwarts castle and all of the content that has been released for the game so far. From his name being in the stained glass window of Professor Binns' classroom, to there being statues and pictures of him flooding the castle and surrounding grounds. Merlin being in Hogwarts Legacy isn't a new theory, but Morgana, or Morgan Le Fay, that's new. With the recent short 17-second Twitter clip of a statue of what many are assuming to be her, it has sparked some new theories, so I went back and watched every single piece of content that Hogwarts Legacy has, and she is almost as present as Merlin. Make sure you watch this whole video to catch all the crazy theories that have popped up surrounding our new favorite witch and wizard. In the original official reveal for Hogwarts Legacy from September 16th, 2020, we see a few instances of there being a male and female statue, which we can now assume to be Morgana and Merlin, next to each other, almost as if they are competing sides of a morality system. Here we see them in the library, while the main focus is on the portrait silencing the students. They are hanging out in the background. The second instance is a scene where you can barely see the Merlin statue holding his famous book and the Morgana statue holding a flower. Both of these instances were in the background with something else distracting your attention. Maybe the devs were trying to sneak these in there. In later content and trailers, we see more images of both of these magical characters. Most notably, during the devs behind the scenes, we get this face shot of what we think is Merlin and this interesting depiction of Morgana. Now, this photo is interesting for many reasons. First, Morgana was a very powerful witch who mastered transfiguration and became an animagus, turning herself into a bird. There are some birds around her head in this image. Second, in some lore for her character, it is said that she owned creatures such as a hippogriff or griffin. Lastly, she is the half-sister of King Arthur, and some even say her last name is Pendragon, which is that of King Arthur. Also, she was saved by a dragon in some stories, and we can see a three-headed dragon here. Now, these are bits and pieces of multiple lore stories ranging from fan fiction to official Arthurian lore, so take it all with a grain of salt. The behind the scenes has other images of a woman in a hood, but I won't focus on those here. A couple members of the great Nightly Nerd community have sent over their theories and what they think is going on between Merlin and Morgana, and I would like to talk about those now. First, we aren't a descendant of Merlin, but that of Morgan Le Fay. This theory is interesting because in most iterations of her character, she is thought to toe the line between good and evil. The Hogwarts Legacy story could be that of Anakin Skywalker, where you need to save a loved one, and the ancient power or dark path can help you do this. I'm not really buying this theory, but it's possible. A second theory is that we are a descendant of both Merlin and Morgana, who in a few stories were lovers. Your character would have a crazy potential for ancient magic as both of your ancestors mastered forms of magic. You could be like Grandpa Merlin and go towards the light, or sway towards darkness like Grandma Morgana. This ties in nicely with the whole morality system of Hogwarts Legacy that we are hopefully getting. Here is the craziest theory of them all, so strap in. I'm also most on board with this one though. Sebastian is a descendant of Morgana, and the Ravenclaw companion is a descendant of Merlin. The latter has been discussed before, and it makes sense as many of Merlin's attributes align with him being a Ravenclaw even though he was a Slytherin. But here's where things get interesting. A theory within a theory. Sebastian is a vampire and comes from a long line of vampires, and that is his family curse. One of the most famous Morgana stories is that she became a vampire and was actually called the Vampire Queen, mixing her magic and newly gained vampire abilities. Now, how would the story of Hogwarts Legacy work with these two descendants? I'm not 100% sure, but I could definitely see this being Sebastian and the Ravenclaw companion's backstory. I think both Merlin and Morgana will have something to do with the morality system, as Merlin essentially tried to protect ancient magic and Morgana tried to abuse it. I want to hear from you. What is your theory on Merlin and Morgana? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, like the video, share with a friend, and subscribe to help me reach my next goal of 1,000 subscribers. Stay connected with me outside of YouTube and follow me on Twitter at @nightly_nerd. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.